Hey guys, Beatus here. Now, of course, there have been at least a few occasions where I've talked about, and Love Dolls, you know, or while referring to Love Dolls, I should say, is that at points I've stated how it's an expression of myself and what I desire. And of course, with other Love Doll owners, an expression of, what of themselves and what they desire. And of course, I know I'm kind of mixing my words a bit, but you know, some people would think, what do I mean by that? And I got asked that, recently from some recent viewers that have been looking through my videos, that just are, I would say, maybe curious of my channel. And I'm going to ask you a question in return. What I'm going to ask is, for a man, as we have grown up as a man, what are the very few times that we have been able to express ourselves to our fullest extent? It is also the same area that women can't openly express themselves. And that's just, a hint. Sex. And women. That is one of the very few areas that men have been able to express themselves. If we ever express ourselves in any other manner, people tend to think that we're gay. And so, it's all of this peer pressure as, we're growing up as men to not express ourselves and to be kind of generic, to be frank. And so, for, let's say, a Love Doll owner, like like myself, let's just take a look at this Fergie here. Looks kind of nice, doesn't she? And if you don't know who she is the character Tubi. And there's a lot of guys that have been making like tons of pornography of her, so to speak. And so why is this? And I've been seeing this as a trend more where people are taking these characters from these video games, cartoons, or just even characters from movies even, and they have been using their image as a substitute for their fantasies. And so why is this? And the reason why is that, how for women, it's almost like taboo to express themselves in this way. But at the same time, for men, it's like they have the freedom to express themselves in this way. But the only problem is that since women aren't, always able or willing to, express themselves in this way, men are doing it. And it's because this is the one area that we have been able to express ourselves at all. And so when a lot of men tend to express themselves in this way, they tend to do it in full force to the extreme. I mean, take for instance the Love Doll I have. She looks, I would say, in pretty much every way perfect to the way that I like, as far as looks go. She doesn't have a personality, but let me tell you, she is like a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. In fact, she has even things in common with Tubi, whereas she has kind of the bobbed haircut, shorter haircuts, although this is kind of more of a schoolgirl haircut kind of look. And Tubi also has kind of the dress that you can look up. She has the thong, etc. Those are many things that men, or even probably some women, tend to like. And so, in retrospect, that is the reason why a lot of men are starting to, express themselves in this way. And it is also because of an issue with society. And I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it in a bit of a different way and why it's becoming such an issue. And why actually having things like sex toys, love dolls, is actually becoming even more and more of an important thing. And also, I think people in part are doing this. Goddamn. Something just came up on my throat. Ugh. Goddamn. I just about threw up, man. Sorry about that. But what I was saying is that, this is becoming such an issue because, with people becoming so bored with their everyday lives and trying to express themselves, nations like America and some other nations have become overly sexed. And with that, we need the tools in order to help that urge that we are now starting to get. Because many other times that nations have become oversexed, they didn't exactly have very good tools to, help with that urge that people had when they started becoming oversexed. They started having sex with each other all the time. They started even having sex with children, etc. And I know that's a bit graphic to say, but it is true. I mean, the Romans, who, eventually became oversexed for years, while they couldn't, have sex with anybody that's, was cared about, they were able to have sex with people almost on the spot who were slaves of their nation. So let's say if a child or kid was a slave, and even if they were like 9 years old, they could, many cases, choose to have sex with that child if they wanted to, just because they were a slave kid. And that's kind of the issue, whereas here in America, that's something that's not allowed. But if we went to, let's say, another country, and I'm not going to name any of them because I'm not going to share any of that information for people that's looking for that kind of thing, but they could go to another country and just have sex with underage kids and children anyway. And of course, I'm not going to say the answer is child love dolls, but at the same time, something has to be done when people are starting to get this urge and people are just starting to do unhealthy things with each other, just trying to get this urge or trying to feed that urge. And it's kind of like we've seen in the video that we've talked about, the more you itch, the more you scratch. And so the more that these people are engaging in this sex, the more they're doing it, the more they're getting diseases, the more they're neglecting other things, etc. And so this is part, I would say, the biggest reason why having these sex toys nowadays, love dolls, etc., even pornography in some ways, has become a very important thing. Although, pornography and sex toys in themselves can also, in some ways, lead to bad things as well. Like, for instance, this is just one example. For somebody that becomes obsessed with pornography, they might become obsessed with pornography and stop going to work, stop seeing their girlfriends, etc., and ruin their relationships with the family members, etc., even kids. And the only thing that I might see a bit of an issue in the future with love dolls per se, or even I would say fembots, because I'm pretty sure one day they're going to try and make those, is that people might eventually become very used to having sex with these, fembots instead of having sex with each other and having children, etc. Although I think that's easily an issue that would be fixed, that is something to take into note. Because these love dolls and fembots are only becoming more and more realistic as the decades go on, and eventually that might happen. But of course, with that being said, I'll just shut up and I'll just go on to the next video here. But of course, if you want to talk about it more, ask more questions, so on, I'll let you guys talk about it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.